All right, so I've been asked a few times to go over some of our setup for both our vehicle and our trailer with the rooftop tent. So I was just going to go over some of the quick stuff. I'm not going to go into detail a lot about it, but at least give you the names and what you can search for it. Start out, as you can tell, we are out here, m.o.r.e National Forest in North Carolina, off-roading today. Have had some fun. The one thing I can tell you off the bat that we are extremely happy with is that Rancho lower skid plate. As you can tell, it might have taken a rock hit earlier today and definitely protected us. That money was definitely well invested, and it's been following us for different vehicles. Behind that, you can see we've just got the new engine skid mount, which also does the transmission skid on it. That one was from up in the front here. We do have the front winch cable that allows it to be connected over, and there is a video on that, again, already on my channel. We do have this upper light here. This is nice for when setting up camp, stuff like that, but it does have a lot of glare off the hood, so it's really not good for riding the actual trails. Going down here, we do use the Lang mirrors. We like these for our setup. We are doorless most of the year, so for us it's just kind of the best setup. When we do need to put the doors back on, it's there. We end up actually using the old Quadritech mirrors. We like them a little bit better. They didn't have the concave that gives a little bit a weird angle. We like the flat. And then we actually have the concave for just doing the trailer and a little bit better view. On that, these are just off Amazon. There's multiple brands and pairs out there. The Shorty Antenna. One of our favorites is the Ram mount with the Carolina Metal Masters ball that connects in. We originally just got the first one over here and ended up liking it so much that we got the second one for when sitting passenger. We run the CB radio, and we run the Jeep Unique connection point that allows for that radio and for then a basic walkie-talkie there. Most of the other stuff in here is pretty standard. We've got the camera, we've got the spiderweb shades top up. We did just get the what is that, Master Top brand. I've got a review on that. We've actually got a good trip on it now. I've had a couple people ask me how I plan to roll this up, and I wanted to show you guys here. It did take two of us to roll this nice and tight, but as you can tell, it's right at the front. It barely sticks up over that edge, so you can drive down the highway with it here. You do see it from the inside when sitting here up at that angle. You can tell that it's there, but it's not a bothersome like the factory top. And the nice part is, if we do hit rain real quick, we can undo these straps. These, I don't remember where I got them from, but they're just some basic Velcro straps I had. And if we're going down the road and we need to get this deployed for water or anything like that, rain, we can just quickly undo that, run this back, and at least put 2 or 3 of the straps on, which will hold it down. So that was kind of the idea. It's working. We have not had the zipper put on the back like I discussed in my other video, but when it's hanging out here, we haven't had any water come on the inside, and we did get hit with some pretty good rain the other day coming up here. So enough with that. We do run the Jeep bags. That's just nice. This is where the son normally sits, so he's got his phone and his games back here. Run a little cooler on the other side. The seat's normally more in the down position. The rails we did custom make, doing that. And then we do got the rear skid plate on, the rear one also. One of the packs that we do for setup, I did end up putting in a bed slide just so that comes out a little bit easier. We run the Via air pump for on the road. But the main thing here is what was been discussion with some recently, is this is where we keep our main pack, and in this we keep a trauma pack, and this is for when out on the trail, any like real certain huge emergencies that have traumatic injuries. It's got tourniquets and stuff like that in it. This here is a more basic one. We don't really carry band-aids, stuff like that. We're not worried about small scratches. It's also got my C-spine in it. All right, so we're back at the house, and I decided I want to break this down a little bit more, show you guys just what I carry for my preference. Like I said, I am a first responder, but I don't really do the medical side of it. I do have a very basic understanding of some of the medical stuff, and so I do have some of that stuff that might be used. These are all the stuff that I know I can use, and yet if I have someone else out on scene, they might have a little bit more training than I do. And for what that is, this is the stuff that if we have, say, a vehicle roll over or something else, which actually did happen this last weekend, these are what we're going to need to seek primary fast care for the patient just to get them out. This is not going to be anything high end. But in here I've got my C-spine. We've also got a snake bite tube. We've got a couple splints. These are nice little roll-up ones. And I built this kit. And I've also got some gauze and just some other basic stuff from, I'm gonna say, minor injuries, stuff that's more than scrapes, but not super trauma. And then in this kit here, this is what I call my trauma pack. I've got, again, a little bit larger splint for some of the bigger bones. It's got some of the thermal blankets and bags. I've got a knife. We've got glucose to help someone out. We've got a universal pocket knife with a little stuff. We've got the tourniquet. I've got a pulsometer. And then one of the other things I had to do to buy for this kit was buy some different medications. And so what's nice about this is having the different meds is I've made a spreadsheet, and this just covers all the immediate stuff. So obviously it's the important stuff. If you tell someone to grab something, that they know what you're looking for, or vice versa. If you're on the phone with the dispatch and they want you to give them a certain thing like aspirin, you're just confirming that what you're handing them is proper to what's in that pack. Just got some basic gloves, mediums and extra larges for help. And this is our very basic first aid kit when you get a small scrape or something like that. Just a cheap throwaway. On top of that, we also leave in our vehicle a tire punch kit, just in case we need to help someone or fix something ourselves. Had really good reviews. This is a little weatherproof one my wife made up years ago. It's got some string in it, just some necessities that you might need. Not really for medical, but more for just on the trail. You've got some pocket knives and matches, trash bags, wet wipes, anything you might need while out for the day. We also carry our tire deflator. We've got one of the large saws for cutting trees or anything small, minor we have come across, helping people before where we did need to clear a little bit of area to help get people out. We use the Viair tire pressure. We just like the means of being able to move it around instead of having onboard air, but either option's good. I'll be the first to admit that is not my specialty. I can get what I need out of it, but honestly, I'm hoping that generally somewhere on a scene, a nurse or someone else that has a lot more training is going to be able to use that for someone. But I have it in there. It's a cheaper one. It's probably not the best one on the market, but in a trauma event, if someone else is there, generally I'm going to be handling more of the injury side of it. I'm not the best at the lungs and dealing with that, but someone else might be, so I'm going to have that stuff just for them. We do have a lock, some jumper cables, basic lights, just the necessities in there. Carry our tools. We've got a regular toolbox, bag full of just some extra stuff. We actually ended up using this today to help someone else that had busted a tire open. We do run the best top soft doors, the half doors during certain weather. This weekend we had a highs of 70s, lows in the 41, I think 42. So that really helped on that. We do have straps. I always leave those. We do have the bed rail system, so we just leave it kind of hanging there. It's always there. And we run the jack stand on this side here separate. It's been a good fit for it, and it's been good for us so far. So that's kind of a quick walk around of the Jeep, and now we'll move on to the trailer. All right, moving on to the trailer. This is our basic setup here. My other videos I have gone over the lighting setup that I've got up underneath with the red lights, white lights, reverse lights, and everything else. The switches are over here. We were able to pick up one of the old military waterproof containers, so we do use this to go. One thing we have done is just use a little lock to go through. It's not the most expensive one. Obviously someone could break this with some good pair of wire cutters or anything else. We're just trying to prevent someone that's just riding by deciding to want and take what's here. So right now we've got the setup with the hot water heater right here on the side. I end up using a little bolt through the side. One issue we did encounter is when we put this here, we weren't thinking about the annex, how far down this would hang. So this is getting a little too close for comfort. So we're probably gonna end up moving this maybe further back, making a custom stand for it to maybe be back here or down low. We're not 100% sure on that yet. So that will get changed a little bit, but we do have plenty of line on this to run it. We might have to spin the tank towards the back. So those are just ideas for setups on that. This is working out real nice. As you can tell, we've got the nice big container back here. We will generally transport the cooler. The second cooler we have with the just drinks here. The white one is what we use for our food, leaving it up underneath so the sun's not blaring down in it. We did get that 35-gallon water tank installed in it. As you can tell, that water tube runs from there with a turn off. We got our little pump, and I've got my little switch. So I turn that on, then it's by pressure, and this kicks on automatically for the heat when it's needed. So far we got the rooftop tent set up. I'll walk around it real quick. We did get the annex. The only slight issue that came out of this is when building this top, just from where we needed it for our center point, we do got a little bit of this gap. Now the nice part is on the inside, you can see the back end of this does end up staying out. So although we lose the space in here for going straight down, we're able to pull the base of this out, put some heavier items on the corners, such as this here, and by pushing that out, we still get that space. So we haven't really lost much, and we're not down in this area. This is more storage. As you can tell, we use it to store our doors. We will run a lock through those if we're gonna leave them here during the day. We also still have access to our cooler from right here. So we can just reach in, open that up. That's where we've got all our colds. So that's how this is working out really good for us. Forgot to mention, right here is a 10x10 easy up. And we actually ended up getting the screen room for it. We don't have it set up right now, but that screen room is for us to cook in and do anything else if the bugs are bad. They're not bad this weekend. Up in here, we've got our living arrangements. And what I did is I've ran a small wire. I forget the name of them, but I can get the link. These little guys. I ran that into this box, and from there, if you open the box, it's where we put all the wire for transportation purpose. We leave it in there, and I've got all my fuses and everything else ran. While being up here, I can also check the battery voltage amount, check on it and verify it. So we're showing we've got 12.8. Turn that back off. That's also a USB charger, a regular cigarette lighter, another USB for high amp. I've got my little tiny inverter that I use for my breathing machine, and I can just plug that in right there for the night. And then I've got my individual switches here. So depending upon the switches I want, it depends on how much lighting you get in here. We'll leave that on, since when we come back it's going to be dark. But that is our sleeping arrangements. All right, the next little part, we've just got one of the truck beds. It is locked right now. We end up locking on the side. But in here, we just have our normal camping supplies that we're gonna need. Cooking ware, stuff like that we can lock when we're gone, not have to worry about it. It stays in there. This was that wire I was telling you about. It's coming from the inside and on the outside of our battery box, which that should have been inside there. I drilled in 2 of these on the side, and there's also one here. So this one on the outside allows us to have the solar panel plugged in, or I can unplug it and plug in a trickle charger. So I know it looks like a little bit of a mess in here, but I always leave the trickle charger in here for it. So if we are somewhere we're not going to have the power or the solar, or we think there's another issue, I can run 110. This cutoff switch here allows me to cut all power from going to anything on the trailer side, but this is all directly on the battery, so it always charges it whether the power's turned on or not. And that's just kind of keeping everything out in the weather. And last little bit, what we do is the top here that normally goes on top of the rooftop tent, we just leave it velcroed here, and it kind of secures in that area for stuff that's in there where people can't see it as much. It also provides as a shade area, so when we're over here, this is casting the sun on the other side of it, and it really just stops anything from coming through. And on days like this, we're able to set up our little table. This is just good compatible, or good compact. As you see, it's less than my knee height, so we can throw it in there. It unfolds. It does come a little bit higher if needed, and generally we have 3 chairs, but we are up over there in the campsite with everyone else enjoying a nice fire. On the back tailgate, as you can tell, we've got just a real basic burner. I do use the little green ones, although I have this propane because we like to leave that hooked up to the water heater, and this allows us to be refillable. I've got 2 of them. I refill them when I get back to the house with one of the refill valves. That's kind of the most of it. Most of what's in here is just our clothing or anything that needs to stay dry, so we don't have to worry about it. It's been good camping so far. So if you have any questions, let me know, or any ideas, and we'll see where we can go. Good. You got it. Got it. Let me get Derek up. You want to pull it a little more and hold up? I haven't touched the gas yet. Good.